Hi, welcome back to the section of Hive. In this section, we'll be looking at some commands which will make us understand how to operate with Hive and how to load data into Hive. In our previous video, we have seen what is the architecture of Hive and what is the metastore and how many ways you can configure our metastore in Hive. Okay. In order to enter into Hive, we have seen something called command line interface. So in order to access Hive using command line interface, I will simply type HIVE and press enter. It would take me to an Hive shell where I can create tables, load some data into Hive tables, whatever I want, I can do it. Okay, so first of all, if you are comfortable with MySQL, then you should be comfortable in operating Hive. Okay, so first let's see how to operate Hive. After entering into Hive, you should enter into some schema, or we call it as a database in Hive language. So let's see what are all the database available. In order to see that, we use something called show databases. It would list all the databases that are present in this particular Hive. Okay, I have some good amount of databases available. If I got to create a new database, I will simply tell create database something called training. Okay, training is already there. I'll just give something like training 2. So I'm just creating a database here. Yes, I'm done with creation of database. So in order to enter into this particular database, I use something called use training 2. So now I had entered into this training 2 database. Right now, in order to find what are all the tables that are present in this particular training 2, I use something called show tables. Show tables would give me all the tables that are present in my Hive, my Hive database, which is my training 2. Right? So now let's look at how to create a table in Hive. So it's simple. Create table. So I would give something like text1 as my table name. So ID int. So I'm just giving one column for it. Yeah, my table creation is done. Right? So in order to find or describe this table, I'll just use something called describe test1. So this is the structure of my Hive table. Right? So I have some other command called describe extended test1. Okay, it had given me lot of features. So describe extended test1 had given me some great a lot of things that are available in Hive. If we know each and every property listed over here, then we are good with Hive. Then we are done with almost 90% of Hive. So let's look at each and every topic that is listed over here. First one is, it is telling that the table name is test1, which is created under a database name or a schema name called training2, and owner is training, and created time is this thing. Last access time, it would print here. Retention period. So retention period is nothing but how long you need your data in this Hive. So retention period as of now, we have not provided anything for this table, so it's 0. Storage descriptors, we have given only one storage descriptor, which is ID, and which is of type int, and we have not given any comment to this particular table. Right? So there is something called location, which is very important here. So when I could see this location, it is giving like user Hive warehouse training2 database test1. So when I load some data into test1, okay, that file will be stored in this particular path. Okay, that's why it is showing the location as HDFS path. When I load some data using some file into test1, that file will be transferred to this particular path and it will be storing over there. So we'll see that how that things happens once we load some data into Hive table. Yeah, and then we have something called input format, which is a default format. We have text input format. We have not specified any formats of your data. That's why it is taking your default input and output format, which is nothing but your text format. Even for output format, it is text. So compression technique, we have not provided anything, so it is taking it as false. Number of buckets, we have not provided any buckets or partitioning on your data, so it is taking it as -1. SERD info. SERD is nothing but serializer and deserializer. So when you wanted to load some data, okay, so in order to make Hive understand, we have something called deserializer or DSERD, deserializer, which converts converts your data in any format to user understandable format, and SERD is something which compresses your data. Okay, so I mean, in a general long ways, we can call SERD, serializer as a compressor, deserializer as the uncompressor. So we have not provided any SERDs here. So by default, SERDs will be taken as a lazy simple SERD, because it's called as lazy simple SERD is something which is an default SERD available in Hive. It would be able to read the text format, and it takes some time. The performance will be little low when compared to other SERDs. That's why we call it as a lazy, and it's a straightforward SERD. That's why we call it as a simple. Combinedly, it's called as a lazy simple SERD in Hive. Okay, so we have not provided any bucketing or partitioning. That's why these are empty. We'll see once we provide bucketing and partitioning on your data. Then see how these columns are getting populated. And for now, you could see the table type we have given, it is coming as a manager table. There are two sets of table available. One is manager table, and next thing is an external table. We'll see while we are working with, while we are loading some data into Hive, then we'll see what is the difference between your external table and manager table. Okay, so let's open another terminal. Yeah, okay, and create something called vim hive input 1.txt. Yeah, so I wanted to give some ID values 1 2 3 4 5 4 5 6 7 8 9, right, 5 6 7. Okay, I've entered 4 rows. I'll save it. I just wanted to put this input file into Hadoop fs-put. I wanted to put it into something like user training path. So what's my file name? I just forgot. Okay, so this command will put my Hive input 1.txt into user training path. Okay, so in order to load my table, the command which I use is load data in path, right? Load data in path. My path name of the file, which is user training, okay, Hive input 1.txt into table test1. So see here, I've used something called load data in path. I'm specifying the path where the file has to be present, where the file is present. So it's in the user training path, Hive input 1.txt into table, which is test1. Now I'll do something like select star from test1. So I got my data. When I did select star from test1, I got all the rows that I had provided in my input file. But if I go and look at this particular input file in my HDFS, Hadoop fs-ls, and this input file, it won't be present, because as soon as you load your data into Hive table, your file will get transferred to the location which is internal to Hive, which is user Hive warehouse training 2.db test1. Let's query here if my file is present over here. There it is. Your file got transferred to this particular path rather than in this path, because once you load your data into Hive table, it will be transferred to your Hive warehouse path, so that it stores this file permanently over here. Okay, so that's how a manager table will behave. Okay, so if I wanted to drop this table, I will use something called drop table and my test1, right? So when I give drop table test1, my table is dropped. The time taken is 0.796 seconds to drop my table. So if I go back and look at this particular file in this test1 path, there won't be any file present. Reason is simple, because I dropped my table here. So if you are not the owner of this Hive input1.txt, you cannot delete this data, right? Yes, of course you can drop your table if you don't want your table, but who am I to delete this particular table when I am not the owner of this table? Okay, that's when that's when the importance to an external table will come into picture. When you drop your table, your file should exist. If that's the scenario, then you got to create your external table. How do you create an external table? It's simple. Create external table test1 id int. So I've used only something called external keyword to create an external table over here. So what is the difference between a local table and manage a table and an external table? So let's see something like, okay, I'll just drop this table, drop table test1. I'll just recreate it. I wanted to show some test1. I'll give something like test2. Okay, I'll have to give something like location. Okay, I'll just give the location as user Surya. Okay, I'll just give this location and just create the table. I've just created the table by providing the location and giving an keyword called external, right? So when I load, I'll just put again the file back into this user training path. So I'll load this test2.txt, sorry, test2 table using Hive input1.txt again. Okay, so when I do that, my table got loaded, but when I query for this particular file in user training path, it won't be present. Rather, it will be transferred to user Surya path, because I have changed, I've provided something called location where it has to store its data. Okay, so see here, I've got my file into user Surya path because I have provided something like location. If you could see here, I have provided location, so it will transfer to this particular location. Let me describe this table. Describe extended test2. So if you could see here, earlier we have seen something called table type as manage table. Now we could see that it has an external table and location got changed to user Surya path rather than Hive default path. Okay, now when I drop this data, drop table test2, table got dropped, right? But my file will still exist because I have created an external table and I want my file though I drop my table. So that's the best feature or the best difference between an external table and manage a table. In an external table, when you drop your table, your file also will get dropped or deleted, whereas in an external table, though you drop your table, your file will still exist. So in manage a table, your file will be lost when you drop your table, and an external table, your file will be there though you are dropping the table. Okay, that's it for this particular session. Thanks for watching this video. In next session, I'll just update you with further more commands of Hive. Thank you so much.